Life Angels with Tracy Lynn, right here on LA Talk Radio.
Well, good evening and welcome to Life Angels here on LA Talk Radio with your host, Tracy Lynn. Look who we have in the house tonight. We have Lisa Lockwood. Welcome to the show. And we have Pinky.
Hi. Thank you for having me, Tracy.
Yes, thank you so much for being here. And we have our little mascot for the night. So Pinky's going to be joining us. It's so cute. What kind of dog is it?
She's a Maltese.
Maltese. Aw, it's cute. So if everybody doesn't know, I know you've seen it on Facebook and I've been posting on Instagram and stuff today, but Lisa Lockwood, she's gone from, this woman is incredible. I mean, I want a story like this. This is unbelievable. I mean, you've come from, started at poverty, worked your way through up as a beauty pageant contestant, and so you did that. And then she's been through Desert Storm, and she's also been a SWAT.
Yes.
And now a reinventation coach.
Reinvention.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is incredible. So we want to share your story tonight. We want to start from the beginning.
Okay.
So tell me how it all started when you were a little girl, and we'll work our way all the way up.
Sure. So I grew up on the south side of Chicago.
Okay.
Just a stone's throw away from White Sox Park.
Mm-hmm.
We lived in a HUD home, if you're familiar with that, housing and urban development. We were on welfare, 7 kids in my family.
Wow.
Yeah. And actually, along the way, both my parents were high school dropouts, so education was not really important to them. So when I had 5 siblings who dropped out of high school and 3 sisters who became teenage mothers, there was definitely a cycle that was happening. And I always thought education is the key to break free from poverty, obviously. Get an education, get a great job, and go from there. So I worked through my high school. I worked at a mini mart gas station. I always had drive. I was an introvert kid. I'm the complete opposite now. So there's hope for people out there who are introverts that you can be an extrovert.
Yeah, that's good. Because I know a lot of people ask those questions all the time. I was like, I wasn't always like this myself, you know? And then it kind of, as I got older, it was like, it just came more out of my shell.
Yeah, and you build self-esteem based on the experiences that you have.
Of course.
And that's what it comes down to, if you're willing to push the envelope a little bit in your life. And I did. So working definitely built my self-esteem, doing well, paying for my own things, contributing to the house, that sort of thing. And when I did graduate high school, my mother entered me in the Miss Illinois USA pageant without telling me. So
I read that. It's like, surprise.
Yeah.
Well, she wanted you to get an education, which was great because, her intentions were good and her heart was there.
She's like, this is my smart kid, and I want to help in some way.
Yeah.
She couldn't do it financially. My parents weren't in the position to do that. So she just thought if I won this beauty pageant, then I'd have the opportunity to at least possibly get a scholarship.
Yeah.
So I did the best that I could. I used a principle that I teach now, which is acting as if.
Yes, I like that. I read that. And can you explain that really quickly? I just want to just segue into that because, I teach a lot of my clients being a life success coach as well. I always tell my clients, just, if you're not there, just act as if. So just explain that a little bit,
So
please.
it's the same thing as fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Pretend you're the person that you want to be.
Yeah.
Emulate. I don't care if it's a movie star, if it's a bodybuilder, whoever it is. Imagine that you are that person.
Yeah.
I remember a story years ago where a woman went to a garage sale and Oprah Winfrey's shoes were at this sale, this estate sale.
Okay.
So she wanted them. She didn't care they weren't her size. I think Oprah wears a size 11 and this lady was like a size 8. All she knew is I want Oprah's shoes.
Yes.
But she was going through her own personal crisis of domestic violence. And she used Oprah's shoes kind of as a metaphor. She stepped in those shoes and she said, how would Oprah handle this situation?
I love that.
And that's it.
That just gave me chills.
Yeah, that's the act as if principle. She hopped in those shoes and she's like, I'm going to be Oprah right now. And that allowed her to move forward and break free from her domestic violence situation. So that's it. Acting as if is basically pretending you're the person that you really want to be.
Yeah, and envision it too. And that's the thing. Envision you're already successful. Envision you're already there. And a lot of people are like, I just don't know how to do that.
Right.
And I just say, what are your vision? What are your goals? What are your dreams? So think about that. Think into the future and see it. And once you visualize it, that's why I'm always big on vision boards.
Yes.
I love vision boards. I love to do arts and crafts anyway. So vision boards are amazing because you get to, piece all the, whatever it is, if it's
all
a
the
trip to
areas
Hawaii
of your
or
life.
Yeah.
You and I are cut from the same page because it's powerful, it's effective, it works, it definitely works.
Yeah.
I teach my students, I'm going off track a little bit here, but I'm an adjunct professor at Westwood College, and I teach something called success strategies.
Very
and
nice.
I actually put my students through the vision board process of imagining your emotional well-being, your financial, your career, your spiritual, your health, your relationships, all of those, envision what you would like, find pictures, find words that empower you, and put it somewhere prominent, and you know that.
Yeah,
Put it somewhere prominent. You see it every single day, so it's not wallpaper. Get yourself in a great state where you're saying, you know what, yeah, that could happen. Yes, that's going to happen. It's coming to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the greatest thing. And, you know, putting pictures up around you, you know, when I was homesick too, and, you know, I came here, I moved here and was going through a lot of stuff, and it was like, put pictures up. I just heard someone say this, put pictures up of your family, of your son, of your, you know, everybody. And it was just like, I'd light up. As soon as I woke up in the morning, it was the first thing I saw. And it just, you know, just built me back up again, because it gave me that love that filled me up, you know, instead of feeling that feeling of lonely, because lonely is just a feeling. And really, we're not lonely, because, you know, there's so many people surrounding us all the time. And I remember someone saying to me once before, you know, just if you feel lonely, just step outside your door for a second, close your eyes and listen to what's around you, and you listen for cars, listen for people, listen for laughter, listen to the birds, listen to the insects, whatever it may be, and you're never alone. And I always remember that principle to this day.
I love that.
So if people are ever feeling lonely, just, you know, just go out there and imagine and just listen to what's going on
You
around
are exactly right. It's getting centered.
Yeah.
Getting centered. Walk in nature. Go for a hike.
Exactly. I love it.
Something.
So you went, okay, so we're going to go back. Okay,
Yes.
so the beauty pageant, and you came 25 out of like 200 and something?
That's right. I did, with no experience at all. I mean, I'm
Good
telling
for
you,
you, though.
that wasn't my life, but I pretended as if I fit in that environment. I didn't even know what a Louis Vuitton was at that time. And these girls have Louis Vuitton luggage, and they're wealthy, and they're from the North Shore of Chicago, and that sort of thing. But I said, you know what? Nobody knows that I'm on welfare. Nobody knows my background, so I'm just going to fake it and emulate the other girls.
Good for you.
So with that, it obviously meant that I did not get the scholarship. That was the intention my mother had. But it definitely built my self-esteem.
You betcha. You betcha, because you're just creating yourself, and that's where the reinventing yourself, right, comes in. And so you went from there to joining the military?
I did.
Okay.
So
that's a drastic, that's such a drastic change. And like looking at you too, I mean, you're so gorgeous, and you're so, you know, very feminine and very girly. And then the SWAT. I mean, I want to go into this because I have friends that are in SWAT, and these guys are, you know, they're badass. I gotta say it, because I always envisioned, I kind of like, you know, always wanted to be a cop.
You would be an amazing police officer. Are you kidding?
You.
I'd have you as a partner in a second.
Yeah, right? I was like, I just want to do the physical. I just want to do all these things, you know? So, okay, so military, you went through Desert Storm, and you were operating heavy machinery. Is that what it was?
Yes. So when I found out after I graduated basic training, U.S. Air Force, they doled out the assignments, and I had a brand new driver's license. I wasn't even driving at 18 because I'm like, why? I couldn't afford a car. What was the point?
Yeah.
But I had just got my driver's license, and then they said, do you have a driver's license? Yes. Well, you're going to be in logistics, heavy equipment operator. And I'm like, oh my God. Again, I had to fake it. I had to pretend like,
You're like, I got this. Don't worry. Yep, I got it. You're like, I don't even know how to drive a car, let alone a tank.
Manual, all that. I'm like, what is that? I don't even know.
Yeah, faking it till you make it comes in handy at this point, right? Good for you.
So there it was. So a 4-year stint in the military, where I did learn how to operate vehicles, tractor trailers, wreckers, tow trucks, snow plows, forklifts, you name it, I drove it. MCI, tour buses. And talk about giving somebody a feeling of power. You know, I'm this little girl, and it's like, boom, I'm on the road of these big rigs. And then again, it was another way to build my self-esteem and cause me to be a little bit more of an extrovert. So those experiences were completely priceless. And what it also taught me was accountability. Never be a victim.
Yeah.
Right? Military definitely teaches that. There's no room for that. There's no room for crybabies. There's no room for excuses. Never be a victim.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, so many of us fall into that category. I mean, there's times where we get into that rut, and you just think, you know, I mean, for you, you couldn't, because you were in this situation. I mean, you're around big, strong men, you're in this situation. I mean, you just, you know, that must have been hard as a woman, though, because I mean, we do have our feminine side, and we are so much different than men are.
Sure.
You know, and we're very emotional creatures. So, I mean, I could just envision myself, you know, I'm a pretty tough girl, but I can envision myself, you know, going to bed at night and be like, you know, kind of crying under the covers, like, I hope no one sees, you know, and you're like, I'm fine, you know, get up in your little,
trust me,
you know.
I had those moments. I really did. So it's hardcore where you need to, where people see you, and then obviously go and retreat and allow yourself that moment of release. You know,
Yeah.
I'm still a woman. My core is so feminine.
Yes.
However,
Yeah.
when I need to strap it on and
Gotta-
do my job, you better believe I'm going to deliver.
Yeah, you got to
Right?
man up to that.
Yeah.
So those are some big shoes to fill. So after this, you went to take more schooling. So criminal justice you were studying. Okay.
That's right. So I pursued psychology initially because
Okay.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love figuring out, why do some people do what they do? Why do some people, for instance, even in my own family, why did I have siblings who decided that they were going to drop out of school? Why did I have siblings that were going to get pregnant and not think education was important? We
Okay.
were in the same environment,
Yeah.
but why are we so different?
So
That's why
true.
psychology was important to me, and I said, what is it? What's the key? What's the factor? What's the nuance that's different? And I knew at some point in my life, I loved it so much that I'd be teaching it. I truly did. I didn't know in what capacity, but when you get passionate about something, it's like you're glued to it.
I know.
Of course you do.
Yeah, I get
And then it's
it.
like, now I have to teach. So
Yeah.
I did take psychology classes, and it was really on a whim after the military that I got a security job just because, only because I had no intentions of police officer. You have to know that.
Okay.
I did that because it fit my school schedule.
Ah,
So I was able to
okay.
work an overnight shift, and
Yeah.
it was convenient. It was an advertisement on the school wall on the bulletin in college, and literally I'm like, yeah, you know what, that's going to be perfect. I'll work midnights, and I can go to school in the day. And I was married at the time, and there was so much
Yeah.
that I was juggling. So
It was meant to be, and through
Right.
all of this too. I read, and hopefully you're okay with talking about it. But you were going through some domestic violence as well
Yes.
yourself, so I can definitely relate to that. I
Yeah.
experienced that myself, and not necessarily the physical as well, but
Emotional.
you're going through the emotional, which is sometimes it just
It's-
is difficult.
it is, and sometimes even worse
Yes.
because the emotional damage is so deep.
Yeah.
And deep depression. So it initially started as emotional
Yes.
because he was an alcoholic.
Yes.
Okay, and I didn't know. I was young. I was engaged at 19. I'm in the military, married at 21. He gave me a lot of pressure to have children. Part of me knew that this is not the man I'm going to be with forever because his temper was so volatile. So
yeah.
initially, I was attracted to it because it was kind of the father figure, the guy that's
Yeah.
going to take care of me, stand up to other men. So he had all of that bravado and the alpha male
Yeah.
things that I was attracted to. Later on, I found out that what it really was dominance. It was control. It
Yeah.
was my woman will not do certain things.
I got tricked and fooled by the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's masked so it's smoothly, and it's really hard to tell the difference because at first you think that protector is coming in and
Yes.
really going to protect you from everything, but really they end up being worse than anybody else could treat you.
Absolutely.
So I get it. So you got through that as well, and you were married for quite a few years.
I did, yes. So married at 21, and we were together about close to 8.5 years.
Okay.
But I always had a plan in the back of my mind. When I felt safe, this was my deal. I will leave this man. I will not have children with him because I will not be tied to him for the rest of my life. But I wanted to make sure I did it in a safe way.
Yeah.
So I had to think of a strategy, and I was always buying time. I'm like, what will make me safe? Because it had gotten to a point where he said he would kill me, kill the next man in my life, or kill my family if I left him.
Yeah.
Nobody would have me if he
Yeah.
did not. And
Yeah.
I believe those threats because of the tirades. He
course.
had DUI arrests. He was in terrible accidents. I called 911 for a domestic dispute. I ended up not pressing charges because I was afraid.
Yeah,
So
I get it.
that whole cycle. And then literally, I just really started to calculate, how can I do this? And then that was the turning point for me. Turning
Yeah.
point for me was when I decided I am going to become a police officer. And I'll tell you, there were two defining moments with that.
Yeah.
I'm working security. I'm taking my psychology classes, and on a whim, I said, let me take a CJ, a criminal justice class, and see
Yeah.
what that's about. I loved it. It was like a
Yeah.
fish to water. There was something so right about what I was learning, and even the psychology aspect of it, serial killers, why people do what they do,
Yeah.
that I said, you know what, I think I want to be a police officer. I wasn't sure until I did a ride along with the Chicago Police Department with the
Yeah.
tactical unit.
I saw that on a video, and I was
Yeah.
so excited. I felt like I was there with you because you were explaining it, and I'm like, oh, I could see that. I love that. I mean, I could see, your personality, and so you fell in love, and it was like, this is what I'm meant to do.
And then that was it.
Yeah.
They responded to a victim of a drive-by shooting. They told me to stay in the vehicle. They secured the scene. I watched as the ambulance arrived. All the yellow tape was put out to not cross the police line. Then
Yeah.
when it was safe, they said, you can step out of the vehicle. So here I am in the back of this undercover car. I'm watching this go on around me, and I'm like, look at the power. Look at the way that these guys took command of the street, command of the situation. And I thought, that is the strength that I need. If I have that strength, I can leave my husband very easily.
Yeah.
And that was the vision. That was the long-term goal.
Good for you.
Yeah.
And it worked,
It
because
did.
I mean, it sounds like to me from, the interviews and the things that I've read is that, you did get that power and you did get that confidence and you were able to leave. And
Right.
he didn't give you a hard time. He was probably scared to death at this point. I mean, you went from like here to here. And that's the thing
Yes.
too, when people are dealing with domestic violence, a lot of us always have, the exit strategy planned for years and years and years until
Right.
finally, we get that breaking point or that moment of truth where it's like, okay, now it's safe to leave.
For sure.
Yeah, exactly. And I deal with them. I have a lot of friends, that work with domestic violence. I know you talked about Denise Brown. Tanya Brown is a good friend of mine, Nicole Simpson Brown's sister.
Yes.
And she's been on the show quite a bit and a co-host as well. So, just hearing the stories, they're so much alike, just planning that exit strategy and making sure you're safe.
It is, because, I mean, obviously they can't be aware of it. The second they're aware, you put yourself in danger.
Yes.
So when I did become a police officer and then started to deal with, obviously, domestic situations, I certainly came from firsthand experience.
Yeah.
I don't recommend people taking the route that I did. I
Okay.
don't at all.
Yeah.
Because I was so ashamed I didn't even tell my family.
Yeah.
So I just thought they see Lisa as this strong person. There was no way Lisa would tolerate that behavior.
Yeah.
So my identity was so tied to, gosh, I'm oppressed at home. Nobody else knows but him.
Yeah.
And there's no way that I can let them know. So I just thought, let me formulate this. But certainly, a lot of terrible things could have happened to me in the interim. I was fortunate that it was not the case with me, but I don't recommend that to anybody.
Yeah.
I say at the very first sign, at very first indication of being treated poorly, I don't care if they're just not touching you, they're destroying your home,
Yeah.
they're volatile, there's
Yeah.
anger issues, and you need to steer clear of that because that's a red flag of what's to come.
Absolutely. And the biggest thing is not keeping a secret. I was victim to that as well, because I kept a secret and I didn't want my friends and my family to know, because
Right.
again, big, strong girl, I had it all together, and it was like, I made this decision to move from another country, and it was all just such a great fantasy. I mean, it looked great on the outside, looked good on
Sure.
paper. And it turned out, completely different. But, I didn't want to tell anyone. I was ashamed. And so that was, for me, it was like, finally I got to the point where it was like, hey, you know what? I'm better than this, and I can get through this. And then I reached out, and then I had, friends like Tanya Brown, praise
Nice.
God that I have people like that in my life that took me under their wing, and they were like, you know what? We're going to get through this.
And it's so prevalent, and I know your listeners right now either know people or they are those people
Yes.
right now in those shoes.
Yeah.
So
Because it can happen to people, anybody. I mean, and that's
Yeah.
the thing. And that's why I love to speak out, because I really want to just help people and save lives, because this is happening all over the place. I mean, it's happening in lots of homes right now, and people are going through this. So if you are going through this, you guys, please reach out to either one of us, Lisa Lockwood
Absolutely.
and myself, Tanya Brown, Domestic Violence. We're actually doing a walk on October 24th in Santa Monica
Okay.
for the Purple Ribbon Bottom Foundation and for
Wow.
domestic violence. So if you guys want to come out and
Fantastic.
join us, that would be awesome. You can check it out on my Facebook as well.
Oh, great.
So
I'm
you
sure I'll be part of that.
Yes, please. It'd be
Yeah.
fun too. And I mean, it's in Santa Monica, so what more do you want,
Yeah,
right?
of course.
Okay, so now I want to talk about SWAT. Okay, so this gorgeous woman, now you're up against these guys. Like, how did they handle this?
Right.
I mean, this gorgeous blonde bombshell, and you're strong and you're beautiful. How did they treat you? Like, it must have been hard to get in there and.
Yeah, yes. All of that. Yes, yes, and yes.
Yes.
So here's something that was unique about my journey into SWAT. I was a 911 dispatcher before I became a police officer.
Okay.
And the reason for that is because when I did decide to become a cop, I missed the exam. So they had given it 6 months prior to. So I had another year and a half before the police test again. And I said, what a great way to learn everything about law enforcement is to become a 911 dispatcher.
Okay, good.
While I was a 911 dispatcher, the SWAT commander would often stop in and talk to the dispatchers and bring us coffee and chat. And he would talk about training. And he knew I was former military and also Desert Storm veteran.
Yeah.
So he said, hey, if you ever want to come out, we're always looking for role players that could come out and help SWAT train. So we
Yeah.
need somebody to be the damsel in distress. We
Yeah.
need somebody to be the victim of domestic violence. How ironic is that?
Yes.
We need somebody to play these roles so that SWAT can go in and storm and do what they need to do. So we need actors. So I became the actor for SWAT.
Okay.
These guys got used to seeing me now. So
Yeah.
now they're seeing me helping them with their SWAT training. Occasionally I'd have a gun and trick them and shoot them in the back, as a role player.
I love it.
So and then
Yeah.
afterward we go out, we go to Hooters and everybody would eat and have a good time. So I'd get to know these guys on a personal basis.
Yeah.
Then when they found out, oh, you're going to become a police officer, that was the next thing. They were supportive.
Okay.
Great, she's going to
Yep.
become a cop. Completely supportive. Now I'm a 2-year veteran, which is still considered a rookie.
Okay.
And I got to tell you, when you get on SWAT, you don't leave SWAT.
Mm-hmm.
SWAT is the most elite of all of the forces.
Yeah, yeah.
So you just love it so much. You're compelled. You don't leave unless you have an injury.
Okay.
Because it's just such a beautiful honor to be part of that team. So for being on the job 2 years and knowing that a position had opened up, somebody was retiring off SWAT, it was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Then I'm running to the general order book to say, okay, how do you have to qualify? What do you need for SWAT? You need to be a master marksman. You need to have these skills athletically. You need to have great, as a police officer, great statistics. You need to show this. So I went through the list, and all I wanted to know is, can a woman be on the team? Because there were no women.
Yes, and you were the first one in Chicago
Yes,
in your area, right?
Southside, yes.
That's such a huge accomplishment. Good for you.
So I found that out. I went for the team. Obviously, a lot of other people went for the team as well. And then the hard part, I guess, Tracy, was when I was betrayed by a few police officers who I thought were my great friends. And obviously, I'm not privy to locker room talk because I'm in the ladies' locker room. So that's
Yeah.
where the bonding really happens with these guys.
Okay.
Imagine a call out and you're in the locker room and they're talking about it and all of
Yeah.
that. And obviously, I'm alone in my own little tunnel. So a few police officers who were very loyal to me came to me and said, listen, there's a few guys in there spreading rumors. Don't repeat it, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you're kidding me. I really thought these guys were my friends,
Yeah.
my colleagues, et cetera. So I found that out. But I used my act as if principle. I'm telling you right now, and it worked. I showed up to work happy every single day. I ignored the people who actually were saying it about me. I would go up to them and still be friendly, as
Kill 'em
if
with kindness.
it
Good for
didn't
you.
happen. It did
Good for
not
you.
happen. It's BS, and I don't care.
Yep.
I had one toe-to-toe confrontation with a guy who really believed he deserved the position.
Okay.
He had not been in the military prior to that, but he used to shoot. He was shooting since he was a kid. He actually wrote a letter, I think, when he was 9 years old, saying that I want to be a police officer and I want to be on the SWAT team, that he sent to the police department. That they actually had somewhere on
Wow.
file of this guy. And he went through his whole life, and there it was. So now he's up against Lisa Lockwood, a female. His
Yeah.
statistics were nowhere near mine on the street. I had more felony arrests in 2 years than some guys had been on 5 years. So I was kicking it. I mean, I was literally, that job was everything. I was newly divorced, and
Yeah.
I had all
The time in the
everything
world,
to
too.
give to that job. 110%. I'm like, going to get out there and I'm just going to kick butt. And I did.
Yeah, you were dealing with mafia, drug lords. Like there was, I mean,
Yes.
that's just, I don't even know what that world's like. I mean, it's just what you see on TV, obviously, in movies and stuff like
Right.
that. But here you are, was it a lot of undercover stuff?
Yeah, so I, while I was still in patrol, they would borrow me for cover operations, and
Okay.
those were primarily drug operations. So I was the Hooters waitress,
I
was
love
the
it.
stripper, I was the
Okay.
crack addict, etc. Before I was promoted, because
Yeah.
you don't get promoted till you're about 5-6 years on the job to become a detective. They want to make
Okay.
sure you have a lot of skill in patrol. So 2 years I was being borrowed, which was great, and then lo and behold, I was selected as the newest SWAT team member after 2 years on the job.
Oh, what was that day
Oh my
like?
God.
How did you feel?
I get the
mean-
phone call from the commander himself, and he says, "Do you feel like celebrating tonight?" And I'm like, "I would love to celebrate." I was clueless.
Yeah.
I would love to. Why? He goes, "Welcome to SWAT, Lisa Lockwood."
Oh, I just got goosebumps. I love it.
Oh
Yay.
boy, did I celebrate!
I guess so. The first day walking into the job, though, must have been like, I love it too, because I think you had said on one of your videos I was watching, you kind of had your hair down, you were showing your femininity for the first time, and
Right.
it was kind of like, you're like, here I am. They were probably like stunned, right? But good for you to have that confidence
Yeah.
and that drive to walk through a room and just, I mean, I can only imagine with the tension and, like people mumbling under their breath. and
It
what
was
they were
all
saying.
that.
Oh yeah, I
all
can
that.
just see it,
There were a couple of handshakes, and there was a lot of hesitation. But even having gotten on the team, it took probably about a good 3 months before they truly accepted me. Because it's like, okay, you're here, but we have to really make sure that you're worthy.
Yeah,
So I was
of
still
course.
ostracized quite a bit in the beginning, and we were doing paintball training. We had dilapidated prisons where we would go out in the field and buildings and crack houses and actually storm doors and have flash bombs, and all that exciting stuff was happening. And then it was lunchtime, and I always felt I was on my own island until finally I felt they were like, "Get over here," and then I was welcome, and I was part of the team, and they trusted that I could do the job.
Yeah, good for you. And so what is the conditioning like? Because, I mean, obviously you have to be in great top physical shape. So
Yes.
is there training, and do you have to fit the requirements of,
Yeah, so you have the standard requirements for the
Okay.
police department.
Yeah.
So now that's just amplified. So you have your standard, your sit and reach, obviously your run, your push-ups, your sit-ups, that sort of thing. You need to lift a certain amount
Yeah.
of weight, and the standard had just increased for all of that. So
Okay.
even right before SWAT, because obviously I didn't know a position was going to be opening, so I wasn't at the SWAT
you're the level.
standard
Yeah.
at that point. So now I'm like on the team, and I knew, all right, I have this. I'm a firearms instructor. I'm a master marksman. I've got stats. I've got this. I've got experience, et cetera, et cetera. Now it's time to really kick it, and I
Yeah.
did. So when I was out training with SWAT guys and we were doing our runs in formation and everything else, initially I was at the end of the line. And
Yeah.
then next thing you know, I'm like, I really got to get better. So I actually signed up for a marathon.
Good for you. You
My
got to do what
first-
it takes, right? Good
Yes.
for you. And how did
Yes.
you do in the
Oh,
marathon?
I did great.
Good.
New York City Marathon. It was incredible. And I did another one after that. But yes, I knew what was required,
Yeah.
and there was nothing that was going to take me off that team.
Yeah, good for you. Okay, so I have to ask. I mean, I would be intimidated if I was a guy. I mean, I get it all the time, as I lift weights and I look a certain way, but men must be thoroughly intimidated by you.
So here was the thing. So imagine I was newly divorced, and I thought to myself, no guy is going to want to date a police officer. And now, now I've got to say I'm on the SWAT team. And now I got to say I'm, a step above with firearms and
Yeah.
all of this. So yes, but what I found is a true alpha, a guy that sees that can look at that and say, you know what, I know how to kind of slay that woman. I know how
love
to
it.
get her to be feminine again. Because
Yeah.
a lot of times we end up attracting the opposite.
Yes.
We attract a guy that's a little bit more submissive initially, but the polarity doesn't work.
I was just going to say the polarity, yeah, and that's
it's
a
not there.
big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not sustainable.
Yeah.
It's intriguing, it's interesting in the beginning, but then when you feel a sense of having more power than your man, it's over.
Yeah.
Game over.
Exactly. So having said that, and then you,
So I dated quite a bit, and I went through a phase of, I call it my gigala stage.
I've never heard that term before. I love it.
Because I made it up.
I love it.
There can be a gigolo and a gigolo.
Yeah.
So I think because of doing my job and caring about my job so much, and I was so myopic on results and achievement and that sort of thing, maybe I did have some extra testosterone running through my body and a little less estrogen.
I imagine carrying a firearm around and being like, around all these guys too. You get that energy. I mean,
So due to that, and you know this more than anybody, the more we work out, the more we increase our libido.
Yes.
So my libido was at an all-time high.
Yeah.
So during that period of singledom, it was like, you know what? I really behaved like a man would behave. You know what? I would go for these one-night stands and encounters. Some were police officers, some were not. And using protection, of course, and
Yeah.
being safe. But in not even thinking for a moment that I need to call them the next day or I need to follow up. It really was living
Yeah.
in that jiggle up period. And it
Yeah.
was about a year and a half that I did that. It was fun and it was exciting. But everything takes its course. After a while, it's like, okay, you know what? I miss connection. I miss a relationship. I
Intimacy.
miss intimacy, sharing my life with somebody, etc. So after that fun and exciting period of time, that's when I started to be more introspective. I ended up getting my bachelor's in psychology, my master's in criminal justice,
good for you.
studying with Tony Robbins. I traveled the world with
Yes.
Tony.
I love it. That's when I talk about polarity. I learned, learned a lot
Yes.
of that from him. He's incredible. Yeah, I saw you in one of your other videos. I did a lot of research on you, and
Thank you.
with Tony Robbins, and he's incredible. I've seen him actually in Vancouver, BC, Canada, from where I'm from. He used to come out there quite a bit and do his workshops. He's amazing.
So talk about taking your life to the next level. I mean,
Yeah.
I recommend for everybody. Tony is one of my greatest mentors, because imagine that I have achieved so much, but there was still this emptiness. There was still what else? What more is there? Because once we achieve something, we move on to the next thing so
Yeah.
quickly, and
Yeah.
we don't give ourselves a moment to even revel in it. Give
Yes.
yourself a sense of accomplishment. But no, it was always the next.
Yeah, and you're a bit of an adrenaline junkie because
Yes.
I mean, she's jumped out of airplanes, she's in a hot air balloon. You've like, what else? I mean,
Scuba, hang gliding.
I got scared just thinking about half of the things. I'm like a chicken because I'm scared of heights. So unfortunately, I do want to jump out of an airplane. I said I was going to do it for my 40th birthday, but I
Yes.
never did it. But
Well, I'll tell you what,
there's
life
still time.
Angelz, I'm going to tell you right now, I literally felt like an angel leaving the aircraft. I felt like I was flying. I was an angel. It was the most peaceful, serene, beautiful experience of my life. So I did it again after that.
Wow. Okay.
And so that's, if you reframe your mind, obviously, to say that,
Yeah.
that you're obviously in a safe environment. I did a tandem,
Yeah.
and to allow yourself that complete freedom, it's the most exquisite adventure ever.
Okay, was that one of your favorites out of all
Yes.
the? Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
definitely.
I went zip lining and I thought that was pretty
It
magnificent. I did it over the waterfalls in Bahamas and
Okay.
in the Caribbean, and it was just unbelievable. I think actually the scariest part of it was actually the apparatus
stopping?
that they, the stopping. But the apparatus that they had was a milk container. It was about this big, and it was tied to with rope to the tree. And these Jamaicans were like, "Oh, don't worry, man." And I'm like, I'm landing on this. My feet aren't even gonna cover this
Right.
thing. And so I was terrified of that more than anything.
It's
so
true.
I was like, this is not gonna hold me, especially when I'm coming in at like 60 miles an hour. I was terrified. I held on to that tree for dear life, and I was like, no, I'm not leaving yet. I'm not ready. I said I have to breathe and pray first, and then I'll
That
go.
was brave. You
Yeah.
were very brave to do that, but it was worth it.
I will do it again,
Good.
but hopefully it'll be with, a little bit safer environment. So that was my little, going off out of the deep end for me.
Good for you.
But
Good for you.
yeah. So, and speaking of that, Undercover Angels. So your book.
Yes. So I, after years of sharing stories with my friends, finishing an undercover, infiltrating the mafia, catching sex predators, posing as a 13-year-old girl, all of those crazy experiences, it was always like, okay, hang out with the girls and talk about what I did today. And I had this captive audience, and every single time, inevitably, somebody would say, I hope you're writing this needs to be a book, Lisa.
Yeah.
And I dismissed it. I journaled.
Okay,
I
good.
love journaling.
I was
I'd done
gonna
that
ask you that.
for years, and it was always my innermost thoughts. And it was about, what did it feel like to get on SWAT? What did it feel like? So all
Yeah.
my feelings were there
Good.
along that entire duration. But to put it in a book, honestly,
Yeah.
not until Tony Robbins.
Okay, good. Because I want to talk about that too, because
Yeah.
I know a lot of people always ask me, and I am in the process of writing a book. I have been for
Good.
years. I mean, from childhood up, I have a lot of notes, but I have a lot of stuff up here and obviously a lot of stuff in the heart.
Yes.
So do you have any recommendations for
do.
people? Okay,
Oh
good.
gosh, I'm a new author coach. As a
Okay,
matter of fact,
great.
one of my biggest, bestest friends, Lauren Powers, I'm coaching
Yes.
her.
Hi, Lauren.
Hi, Lauren.
I love Lauren Powers. She's actually, I want to give a quick shout out. Lauren Powers has got her Lauren Powers Classic Show this Sunday in
Yes.
Oceanside. So I want you guys to come down there, see us. I'm going to be down there. Are you going to be there?
Yeah, no, I'm going to be in Vegas.
Okay, well, that sounds fun too. So come down and say hi to us, you guys, if you want to compete. If you want to just hang out, come talk to us. We're going to be out there helping Lauren and stuff. She's amazing.
So her life story, and she was obviously
Yes.
on your show. So Beneath the Muscle, and it's all about that. It's the coming
Yeah.
together of the two things. Her incredible discipline in her life, the
Mm-hmm.
awesome adventures, and what she learned along the way. I say everybody's got a story.
Yeah.
Everybody has something to tell, something that somebody else can learn from.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to benefit them. I'm telling you, you're in your domestic situation.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, when I'm on stages and I talk about my domestic violence,
Mm-hmm.
I have a line of women at my table who are telling me stories about trying to get out of it currently, or
Yeah.
how they'd gotten out of it.
Yeah.
So it's there.
Yeah,
there.
absolutely. And that's the thing, is I want people to be able to express themselves and tell their stories, and I remember going to James Melanchak boot camp.
Yes.
He was teaching me, with writing books and stuff like that. And he was always like, the more jacked up your story or your life is, he's like, the better. He goes, you got a good book. And I was like, I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but I'll take it. And then I remember Tanya Brown, I met her at that boot camp as well. And
Yes.
she was introducing me to her publicist, and she goes, oh, this is the girl that's got all the problems, that everything went wrong with her. And I was like, hi, that's me. I'm like,
Yeah.
everyone's
Hello.
Thank you all for noticing. You know,
But
the mess that I
the
am.
beauty is the flower that blossomed on the other side,
Yes,
because
thank
your
you.
disposition, everything, your energy, your core, all of that is feminine, it's sweet,
Thank
it's
you.
loving, it's embracing.
Thank you.
And for you to come on the flip side of what happened to you, obviously, and show up this way, that's the lesson. That's what people want. They want to
Yeah.
get to this.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's why it's so imperative.
Yeah.
You know, you've built an incredible audience. You've done amazing things.
Thank
so
you.
tell your story.
Yes, and that's why, you know, that's why we do what we do. And
Yes.
that's why, I mean, this woman has come from poverty to beauty queen to SWAT to Desert Storm, all these things, and now you're teaching people and coaching people how to reinvent themselves. And
Yes.
I think that's so commendable. So thank you for doing that, because
Thank you.
you know, as well, you know, I come from the, you know, background of alcoholic home, abuse, domestic
Right.
violence, you know, just a lot of stuff. Eating disorders, addictions. I mean, I've come through it all, and it's like I got to this point where it was like, how can I help people? How can I give back? So
Right.
that's why, for me to be a voice, I was so ashamed before. I never wanted to tell my story, and I thought, I'm not going to tell people that I binge and purge and throw up food and all this stuff. I mean, I'm clear of it now, and I've been through all these addictions and all these
Right.
things, and I was so terrified to tell people my story. And now that I'm able to come out and help others, I mean, I'm on the committee of the Youth Eating Disorders, the Diet to Be Thin campaign.
Wonderful.
And I mean, there's boys and girls that I go speak at schools, and they just look at me and go, you don't look like you have any problems. And I go,
Right.
that's the whole point, you know. And I said, here's my story. And then, you know, I get to explain. And then, you know, at first they're like, you know, they're amazed, because they just look at us and go, okay, you seem like you have it all together.
Yes.
You know, and it's just you starting from the beginning and showing people through the story. So that's why books are so important. I would love to read your book.
Oh,
Where
I
can
brought
we
it
find
for you.
Oh,
yes, of
yay,
course.
thank you. Good.
If any of your listeners would like an autographed copy, they can go right to my
Okay.
website. If
Okay,
you don't want an
good.
autograph, go to Amazon. Obviously, it's there.
And your
I have
website
it,
is?
LisaLockwood.com.
Okay, good. And where
Yeah.
can we find you on social media and all your?
Yeah, so Twitter is at Lisa Lockwood.
Okay.
Instagram is at Lisa Lockwood1.
Okay, yeah.
And Facebook, obviously, Lisa Lockwood. And I also have an Undercover Angel page as well.
Okay, good. And so what's going on now? So
Some exciting stuff.
Yeah,
I
you're
couldn't wait to
traveling
share
a
with
lot.
you.
Yeah, good. Okay.
So aside from teaching, I teach criminal justice along with success strategies. I also travel quite a bit. I do keynote presentations on kind of leadership, SWAT focus, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I always incorporate some way, somehow, I'll get in there about domestic violence and abuse. Because
Good.
any audience I'm in, I guarantee somebody's going to learn from that.
That's right.
And currently, Undercover Angel is being shopped as a television series, a police drama.
Oh my goodness,
Yes.
really?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank
I knew it. Because it's funny, because people, when they were interviewing, you've been on Steve Harvey, ABC,
Yes.
NBC, Nancy Grace. I mean, she's been on every show. And they're always like, you got to do a movie. You got to do a movie. Of course you do. That's
Thank
incredible.
you.
And I love how it all ties in together. There's always angels around us. And I really, truly believe that. And like
There
you
are.
said, jumping out of the airplane, my show being called Life Angels, you know, giving back, Undercover Angel.
Yes.
It's all, you know, synchronicity. And I love what you're doing, and I love everything, you know,
Thank
just
you.
the path you're going. So when can we expect to see that?
Well, right now it's being pitched to the network. So currently they've already hit 3 of the major networks. And then what happens after
Yeah.
they go through, they have 6 lined up. And then it depends on who wants it. And then they have bidding wars and all that fun stuff. So I'll
Okay.
be executive producer, and I'll also be a tech advisor. That will be my role when it is picked up.
Oh, that's so exciting. I can't wait. Well, you definitely, I want you guys to check out her book as well. So any other books coming out?
Yes, so I have my second book as well.
Oh,
so this is my
okay,
new one. It's
good.
called Reinventing You. So
Thank
these are both for you.
you
So
so
Undercover Angel
much.
and Reinventing You. So when I reinvented my life, obviously after law enforcement, what am I going to do? What skill do I have? And
Yeah.
I realized that coaching was so part of who I was. I mean, think about it. You're a police officer, you're coaching. You're victims of domestic violence. You're getting confessions from criminals. It's all coaching. You got to get in rapport with people. How do you achieve that? And my conviction rate was so high because of my ability to get confessions.
Of course.
So, and that's rapport building. And I realized that when people know that you care, they're willing to tell you their story.
Yeah.
So that's when I realized, specifically in career reinvention, I've niched it and branded it down to that specifically.
Good.
Because, who are you? What is your brand? What does it represent about you? You know, all of those things, like Life Angels, and what is it, and what does it mean, and what's the belief behind all of it.
Yeah.
So anybody that's looking to reinvent themselves, they haven't found their dream career, they're trying to figure out what it is, they're lost. And a lot of people are lost.
They are, and that's why I really wanted to dive into it before we still have a few minutes, but I want to just, if there's anything that we can, give home to people and people viewing and also listening, if they're stuck, because we get stuck in these, box jobs and, in this little world and just kind of 9 to 5 or whatever it may be, what is the one thing that we can give to people to take away tonight to how to reinvent themselves to get out of that to be unstuck?
I have a series of exercises, obviously they're in the book and what I coach them with, but this is what I say. What would you be doing every single day if your bank account was filled? What passionate thing would you be pursuing? Would it be a charitable cause? Would it be representing, would it be being a voice for something, some group, whatever it is? And there's a way to monetize that, and people don't realize it. I mean, really, I get to do this every single day? Yes. How do I make money doing it? And that's where I come in. That's where I come in to help them do that.
Beautiful. I love it. And you said too, on one of the things that I saw is, not a lot of people love what they do.
Right.
And, and it made me feel, just appreciate and how grateful I am today, thinking about the career that I have and really appreciating helping people.
Right.
And, and I just made a little post this morning with one of my clients, and it was like, I'm just so grateful because I am one of those people that do get up in the morning, and I am so happy and passionate about what I do. And
Tracy,
I'm so fortunate.
2/3 of Americans are not.
I know.
That's the statistics.
Sad.
It is sad. And there's no reason for it. There isn't.
So at any age, you guys can make a change. I mean, start today. I would love for you guys to get this book on Amazon as well.
It sure is. And on my website. And I have a little gift for you, too.
Aw, look at all these things. I'm spoiled today.
Honorary SWAT
Oh my
team.
gosh. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Oh my gosh, I love it, you guys. And everyone that knows me too, I'm like big baseball hat, especially when I work out. Thank you so much.
You are welcome. You deserve
it. I love, love, love. You guys are going to be seeing me in the gym with this. Oh, I love it. Thank you so much. Yeah, my friend, I mean, I've always been so like, I look up to SWAT because my friend, shout out to Dino Zagafis, he's San Francisco SWAT. And I'm just like, some of the videos he's shown me, I'm just like, you are crazy, the stuff that he goes through. And
it's one thing being a police officer, but then saying to yourself, oh, let me put myself in the most danger possible by choice. I choose that.
Right? You're like, am I sane? But, that's crazy. I just love what you're doing. And I love how you've gone through all these different transitions, and now you're doing what you love to do, and you're giving back and you're helping people. So if you guys are looking to reinvent yourself and, just make a change in life, I really want you to check out Lisa's, her books, Undercover Angel, Reinventing You, and also go to her website. So again,
LisaLockwood.com.
Yeah, and she's also on social media. And make sure you get a signed copy of this book. This woman is amazing.
Thank you.
Keep doing what you're doing. So when's your next, when are you speaking again?
I don't have a next speaking engagement scheduled for October.
Okay.
But I'm still...
You will soon.
Yeah. It's just a matter of time.
Good. And also with...
it's all posted on social media, and I keep it up to date on my website as well. And I'm a crime analyst on CNN, so they can catch me on Dr. Drew or Nancy Grace. There's some breaking news.
That's so cool. Okay, we're going to be watching for you. And so, and I'm going to talk to you too, because I really want to push myself. I gave myself to December this year to write my book. So
I'm
going to commit to you right now, live on air. Okay. So everyone's going to see this, that I'm going to connect with you this week. And I really want to make sure that I get the fire under my butt.
Excellent.
And I get this done.
I'd be honored.
So it's going to be a biography of my life.
Yes.
And I know my son, if he's listening, Cody, shout out to you, because,
Cody.
he's just, I'm scared when he does read this, because he's going to be like, I know my mom was crazy, but.
That's the biggest fear we have when we tell our story.
Yeah.
It really is. And I had to worry about, what are my parents going to say when I talk about, certain things? Are they going to be upset that I revealed so much about being poor and, all of those things? And they were initially. But then they
Yeah.
get past that. When they realize that the bigger picture is helping other people, they get past that. It's their shame. But I know we were given these situations so we can help people.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It wasn't
that's the
by
gift.
chance.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is a gift of giving back. And so we're going to be able to share that story. Thank you so much, Lisa Lockwood, for coming on tonight.
Thank you, beautiful Tracy.
And thank you so much. And I love my hat. So my new present. And we're going to be here every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And you can find me on www.latalkradio.com. And it's on the video channel now, so you can see us live. So that's
Yay.
why, yeah, it's a little bit more fun to see us visually. And also you can find me on Facebook at Tracy Lynn Cowan, and also Tracy Lynn Health and Fitness Life Coach, and on Instagram and Twitter at TLC Athletics. Shout out to Dan Kennedy, celebrity photographer. He's out sitting in the green room. So hi to you, Dan.
Hi,
Thanks for
Dan.
coming out. And you can also find me every week. But I just want to thank everybody for listening and all the support and the love that you guys. I want to thank my sponsors at NutriShop Woodland Hills, Thousand Oaks. The new pumpkin pie Quest bar is out today, so my life just got better. So shout out to you guys. Thank you so much for everything. Setwear Fitness, Vina Vitargo, No Limit Muscle. And until next time, good night, Angels.
Good night.
Good night.
You're listening to Life Angels with Tracy Lynn, right here on LA Talk Radio.